Hey, what's going on, guys? John Shea from the No Shame Income blog, and today in this video I want to talk about really it's going to be all about school and entrepreneurship. If you're someone that has considered getting into entrepreneurship, is school for me? Is school something that I recommend? I guess really where I wanted to go with this is that you think about people like, let's use Bill Gates as an example. He actually never went to, I believe, did not actually finish college. Really was kind of like a dropout in a sense. And, for me, I'm someone that I actually grew up, I'll give you my background story here. I actually went through school pretty much dedicated to computers and IT. That's what I was really interested in. I wanted to basically go to school, learn how to become a guy in the IT and computer industry, networking industry, and that was really my passion. Throughout high school, I actually took a shop class where what you do is every week you rotate through an entire week-long class. 1 week where you're learning all about computers and networking and computer programming, web design, and at the time for me this was back in like early 2000s, so it was like basic HTML websites and things like that. And what ultimately ended up happening was I ended up going to college, continued really my education in the same kind of field, learned a lot more. It was generally a rehash of a lot of the things I learned in high school. It was all very hands-on, which worked really well for me. And then I actually got a job through someone that I graduated college with doing tech support. And at the time I was making about $40,000 a year. And, it was pretty exciting for me, I remember, because that was a good amount of money at the time. I had jumped from another position making around $25,000, so it was a significant jump. And I continued to decide to further my education. I actually spent $25,000 on a 6-month class teaching me how to go out there and get my Microsoft certifications. I wanted to become a Microsoft certified systems engineer. They had different certs at the time. I ended up passing the course. I got 100% attendance, and I went and got my Microsoft Certified Systems Administrator certificate. I remember the day that I got that, I was really fulfilled, and I went to my boss and told him, and literally all I got was a handshake. So I was pretty disappointed. I went looking for other jobs. I got another job with this other company making around $50,000 a year. And what eventually happened was I ended up getting laid off and went through a bunch of these other jobs, and I ended up back at my original job making around that same amount, around $40K a year. So I kind of had upgraded, downgraded, it was all over the place. I was paying off my student loans, just getting rid of all that stuff. And eventually I stumbled upon this idea that someone had brought to my attention that you could blog on the internet and actually make money from your blog. And ever since that happened, I got really, really interested in the idea of being able to make money on the internet. And as of the past, I'd say probably 5-6 years since I really got interested in this whole model and this whole idea of doing that, I've been nonstop doing everything I can to learn about marketing myself on the internet. YouTube is one of those late bloomers for me. At the time I'm actually producing this video, it's here at the beginning of August 2016. And I've never really focused all that much on YouTube, but what really came to be for me was that I wanted to go out there and start making money for myself and be able to have a lot more freedom to spend money, like going out and doing things like buying my girlfriend a dinner, or just not having to worry about bills, being able to like upgrade things like paint my home or put in a new floor, like all these things that I've been able to do that I may not have been able to do if I was just working, making a steady paycheck every couple weeks and just sort of getting by. So that was really like my objective, and that's still what I'm striving for today. So what I wanted to talk about really ultimately is that I found over time that everything that I do now, where I make all my money now, I actually work full-time for a digital marketing agency, and all of those skills I learned on my own. I didn't do it with school. You can't really go to school for it in a way, because things are changing so often that it's not really something that they even really offer as an academic. And if you do learn it, it's going to be something where you're probably going to have very general knowledge. You're really not going to come out and know like all the trade secrets that you're going to get from these guys who like live and breathe this stuff. So what it came down to for me is ultimately, everything I went to school for, all the things that I paid for in terms of schooling, I am not using any of it today. Everything that I use today in my day job and how I make a living for myself is from the skills that I actually picked up and learned on my own. So I'm not really saying I don't recommend school, because it is something that kind of got me, started. I learned a ton of things in a skill that I was really interested in, but ultimately my passion sort of drove me in a different direction. And it's funny to me that, someone like fresh out of high school, you could be a young girl who's 20 years old, and you could be interested in selling jewelry online. And you could go online right now and start your own Etsy store and start making money from that. And you could far surpass any job you might be able to get at that age. Even fresh out of high school or fresh out of college, whatever the case. You could really do quite well for yourself if you become an entrepreneur and start focusing on the things that you're passionate about. So that's really what I've done, and it's worked really quite well for me. I'm generating well over, I'd say, around a pretty good average, about $2,000 to $3,000 a month at this very moment, from all the extra things that I'm doing online. Things like teaching online courses, creating content like reviews for different products, and making affiliate commissions, things like that. So hopefully this video is kind of giving you some insight on some of the things that I've done. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. But generally, I guess what I want to leave the end of this video with is, if you're someone who's, just sort of been skeptical about going out there and starting something on your own, don't delay. Just start taking action and start doing something consistently over time. And that's going to be really ultimately what it's going to take. Nothing's going to happen overnight. But, for me, I found that doing this stuff over and over and over again, practicing and just learning as much as I possibly could in my free time, instead of wasting time watching Netflix every single night, I spend more time bettering myself, educating myself, learning from people who are successful, spending more time with people who are successful, and that has now led to my success. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you like this video.